Hi, I'm Jim Sayih, Executive Director of Special Compass. Come join us at one of our fitness events. Visit us at specialcompass.org. You can be a volunteer or you can just have fun. See ya.
First of all, Jim, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you very much.
Good to have you on.
I'm happy to be here.
For those of you who are listening but watching on YouTube, Jim is one of the most jacked guys I know. I mean, I actually think I'm looking in a mirror. Fitness is a big part of your life, right?
Yeah.
And what does your daily routine look like? What is it? And then if you can walk me through, how did you get so into fitness?
Well, it's a big answer because it goes back pretty far. I grew up doing martial arts.
Oh, wow.
Mainly judo, and then later karate, and then later wrestling, then football. And then as I became an adult, I went into the Air Force. And while I was in the Air Force, I went in at 17, right out of high school. And the Air Force had all kinds of opportunities. So I was first stationed in Japan. I lived there for 2 years. And while I was there, they had football.
What?
And I'm thinking, I almost went to play college football, but I didn't think I was ready. I thought I was just going to fail school. So I decided to go in the military. And I was like, I could play football in the Air Force. So I played football while I was in Japan.
Yeah.
And got into powerlifting while I was there. And I was never really a powerlifter, but they had this cool event. It was it's called the Strongest Southeast Asia competition. I mean, like a strongman competition that we see today. But this was back in 1981.
Yeah.
Right?
Different time.
Different time. So one of the parts of the competition is multiple things, but the one that was the craziest was there was a Mazda with no wheels on it, sitting on its belly, and you have to roll the car over, right?
What?
So there's a bunch of us in this competition. It's like 30 of us, right? So everyone's like grabbing the axle and they're deadlifting it, and they're only getting it up about a quarter of the way. And luckily I was like, competitor number 10. So I'm watching and I'm trying to imagine, there's got to be a good way to get leverage under this thing, because I think I could do this, right? Yeah. So as I'm watching them, the engine is actually in the back, right? So I said, I'm going to go toward the back of the car, grab the axle, deadlift it, but quickly clean and get underneath it and just go. Well, it took like 6 seconds to do it, and I was the first to do it. So it rolled over on the roof. Everybody was yelling and screaming. Like finally somebody got it over, right? But then everybody copied my technique.
Yeah.
The guy after me and so on. And it just got faster and faster and faster because it's by time.
Mm-hmm.
And then finally the guy that did it the best was like in 3 seconds. But anyway, that was a cool competition. And then later I ended up going to Italy, and I lived there for 2 years. Mm-hmm. And while I was there, all the guys that were over there were no powerlifters, all bodybuilders.
Really?
So here I am, all, big and bulky powerlifter. People are saying, you should do bodybuilding. And I'm like, I don't know how to do bodybuilding. Yeah. I just know how to lift. And they go, we'll teach you. So there was a couple meatheads that I hung around with, and they taught me. I ended up winning Mr. Italy middleweight. What? 2 years in a row, right? And went to the European Championships. Didn't do so well there the first year. But first year, it was funny because I came in 13th in the European Championships. And some guy came up to me. He's the head guy, the president of all the nutrition stores in the southeastern region of Italy. Mm-hmm. And he says, you have potential. He says, I could teach you better nutrition, and maybe next year you'll do even better. He says, I'll sponsor you. And all I expect in return is that you teach people, because he had about 5 gyms, mm-hmm. and he wanted me to go to the gyms and teach people how to lift for no fee, no salary, no nothing. Yeah. Just in exchange of his leadership. And I could go into any of his stores and just take product as I advocate, right? I could fill up a cart every week with nutrition stuff that he'd recommended. And oh my gosh, the next year, all natural, put on so much more muscle, made it to the European Championships, and finished in the finals. Couldn't believe it. It was unbelievable. Wow. So I got into bodybuilding there. So then when I left the Air Force, I became a cop with Miami. Yeah. And as a cop in Miami, still talking about fitness, they have all law enforcement and police and fire compete in the World Police and Fire Games. Okay. Right? It's like the Olympics, but for 911 responders, right? So I competed in this event called the Toughest Cop Alive. And it's 8 events, all done consecutively in the same day, right? And you get points on different things. Yeah. Like the beginning is a 5K run. then it's a 100-meter swim. Then after that, it's a shot put, then a 100-meter sprint. Then after that, it's a bench press competition, then a pull-up competition, a rope climb for time, and then it ends with an obstacle course. So the one with the best points wins, right? So I did really well in that. And I did it every 2 years. It's done every 2 years. So metrics, I don't know if you have it.
Of course I remember metrics.
Well, metrics just came out then. They just came out. And they got Stallone on there. They got the Dallas Cowboys who just won the Super Bowl. Well, they were just starting.
Yeah.
So now they're kind of like picking their promotional people.
Yeah.
Well, I was getting in Muscle and Fitness magazine and getting a lot of attention, right? So Metrics wanted to do a study with law enforcement on fat loss using their product. This was their marketing campaign. So they approached Miami Police Department, and the person in charge of training, his name was Hector. He was approached, and Hector called me and said, Jim, these guys want to do some kind of weight loss competition using their product. And he says, we can't endorse any private companies at the police department. He says, would you lead that? And I'm like, sure. And I was already working on my master's at the time.
Yeah.
So this worked out perfect because I needed something like this, right? So it was not a clinical study. It was just field studies. And all you had to do is group 1, group 2, 20 people here, 20 people there, on metrics, not on metrics. Same program, right? So I did it. It just worked. So much publicity, and it worked.
Really?
The product is good.
Yeah.
And, even if you do marginal work, you're going to get benefits.
Right.
So for metrics, it was a smart move for them. They got good publicity. And so they approached me later and they said, listen, you think you would like to do this at another city or, help us out? And I'm like, sure. I said, but I'm a cop. I'm working. I have, I got a responsibility here. And they go, you do what you want. You pick the cities. They gave me, full reign, gave me a company credit card. I really had unlimited expenses. I could go where I wanted. I could even sponsor events. I was sponsoring different fitness events that I thought would be good for them. They really trusted me, but I gave them a lot of publicity.
Yeah, of course. They loved it.
I gave them a lot. And I did this for 5 years.
No way. All the time being a police
all the time being a cop. So I would just work my schedule and just, if I could do this, I could do, and I would get it done. So that went on for 5 years. And I'm still competing. And so I would compete like in Australia, Dubai. I'm going everywhere because the World Games were everywhere.
Yeah.
So I'm still doing that, trying to maintain my fitness in that. So fitness was key. And, I created early when this happened, my own certification for trainers so that they could teach their peers, peer-to-peer, within their own agencies. I still have it today. I have facilitators all over the country that are still teaching 911 responders in their agencies.
No way.
Yeah. And we use the American College of Sports Medicine guidelines. They have to take an exam, 100-question exam.
Yeah.
There's some standards. So that's my fitness. And today, I have a son with a disability.
Yeah. Well, we're definitely going to jump into that. Yeah.
So with my son, I've always included him in all of my activities. So either me training, I would include him somehow, some way.
Yeah.
But then I would, if there was a 5K run coming up, I'd say, let's go do the 5K. Start doing that. And a small community started to develop from that because there would be parents that would say, hey, could you push my disabled kid at a race?
Yeah.
And I said, I'd love to. But if I do, my son Michael's going to be a spectator.
Right.
Who's going to push him? So I would recruit some of my peers and I would just say, hey, you guys want to push a kid in a wheelchair at a race? All of them said yes.
Yeah, of course.
All of them said yes. And that created its own culture. And, this was years ago. My son is now 31. His first race was 5.
Wow.
And we've been doing it since. And that culture grew, and it kind of grew on its own because every time an event would come up, I'd start asking people to participate.
Yeah.
So finally, when I retired in 2007, I said, we need to make this casual, weekend warrior type of, recreation, an official organization. Make it a 501c3, make it a nonprofit. Let's have a board of directors, whole 9 yards. So we established Special Compass.
It's an amazing organization. My brother's involved. Let's take a step back. So walk me through that journey. So your son has disabilities, and then at 5, what made you sort of spring forward and say, let's do this? Was it by his direction or something you just wanted to do?
Well, for the first 5 years of his life, was massive physical therapy.
Really?
I had a program that I got in Philadelphia at an organization called the Institutes for the Achievement of Human Potential. Mm-hmm. They've changed their name since. Now they just call themselves the Institutes. That's a mouthful, right? But they're in Chestnut Hills in Philadelphia. Mm-hmm. And it's an organization that was donated by a philanthropist, his mansion. Massive mansion. I mean, it's like a castle.
Okay.
So he divided it in half. And half of it is devoted to for physicians, neurologists, to study and to develop prodigy kids. The other half for brain injury kids.
Wow.
Complete.
Two different.
This continuum is huge.
Yeah.
Because with prodigies, I mean, you have brilliant gymnastics, violinists, math. With brain injuries, you go from coma to mild.
Right.
So I took Michael there. I stayed there for 2 weeks. They're evaluating him, and I'm in a class for child brain development. Mm-hmm. And it's every language. In this auditorium are people from all over the world.
Wow.
Wearing headphones, translators in the back, neurologists on stage, describing all the different parts of the brain, how it's developed and how it grows. And as a physiologist, for me, I was just taking this all in, but I didn't have anything on neurology, right? So I'm taking this all in and I'm understanding it. So I go home and I convert my house into a studio, a therapy studio. So my house doesn't look like a house. My dining room table turned into a massage table, all kinds of, it looked like a playground, right? Went to Home Depot, they give you plans, they do all, and every kid has his own personalized plan. And you got to come back a year later and get reevaluated.
Wow.
So this went on for 5 years. And it's so demanding that I had 4 volunteers an hour come to my house for 5 years. And this went on for 6 days a week.
Wow.
So, I'm a cop.
Yeah, right.
So I have a police car in front of my house. And I got all these people coming in every hour, 4 people every hour. People are like, what's going on at this house? But anyway, we were on the Herald. The Herald helped us get volunteers. And anyway, this went on for a long time. And we're stimulating just crazy stimulation to the brain and the nervous system with all kinds of therapy, vision, breathing, tactile. Everything, right? Every limb and leg is being moved by, there's a picture of me on the cover of the Miami Herald throwing Michael up in the air with a log roll. He's doing a log roll in the air because the log rolls is actually stimulating for the brain. But instead of doing it on the floor, I would do it in the air. And I have the couch underneath there in case I drop him, right? But that's the picture on the Herald, him midair, and he's all curled up like this smiling. So it's a great picture, right? So anyway, but that went on for 5 years. So finally I was just like, he needs to live life.
Yeah, sure.
So a duathlon race came up. Mm-hmm. It's a 5K run, a 30K bike, and a 5K run. So he has a brother a year older to the day, same birth date. The three of us, we do the duathlon. I'm trying to figure out how I could do this bike, how I'm going to attach it. So I had to do a little MacGyver, which we wrecked a few times, right? And it wasn't good. And so we finished the race. We go home. He's got some scratches on him and stuff. Mom's like, what are you doing? That's so irresponsible of you. I go, no, every kid wants to do this stuff. He wants adventure, right? He wants to be banged up so he can brag about his scars. Anyway, time goes by and his brother Adam says, hey, Dad, there's a 5K run coming up. You want to go do it? I'm like, yeah. And I asked Michael, I go, Michael, you want to do this? And he's like, yeah. He's all excited about it, but there's no bike, right? So it's just all strollers and safe. Yeah. So we do that. And from then on, it's just been races after just all kinds of stuff. If it's a charity thing, we'll do it. We're just always looking for stuff. And
you're everywhere.
It just grew.
Yeah.
And now you know how why we're at where we're at today.
So your background in just fitness, competition, all this stuff, and then you applied it from everything that you learned in Philadelphia. Like, how did the two sort of combine for different outcomes, right? So you're going into that class with just a different lens than maybe the guy who's not even a weekend warrior. And you have a master's in fitness and science. Walk me through how potentially you were able to combine the two to have maybe some different outcomes.
Well, that's a good point because I did have a different outlook at it. And the thing that resonated with me most was the potential. The more I saw their outcomes on their research, I was just blown away, because I just, when I saw Michael's first CAT scan of the amount of brain damage in his brain, it just looked like a forest fire, 75% burnt.
Wow.
That's what it looked like. And the neurologist, 2 neurologists actually told me, institutionalize him. There's nothing you can do. He's not going to feed himself. He can't talk. He won't walk. He won't do anything.
Trust the experts, right? Famous last word.
Exactly. So they told me that. And, I was there alone. His mom was at home. She didn't hear about this. So I'm hearing it for the first time. This is 6 weeks after his birth.
Wow.
Because he was in there for an ear infection. Different doctors who evaluated him, not the one that brought him into the world. And, I thought, when you hear something like that, it just, I've been in some hairy situations in police work, and you get this tunnel vision. It's like foggy. Things are moving slow, and it's dangerous, and you're scared. I had that then, and it wasn't dangerous or scary, but it just was slow moving. It was kind of foggy, and neurologists, and all I'm hearing is blah, 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 blah. After I heard all of this brain damage and I saw it, and the one neurologist saying, institutionalize them, there's really no hope. You're not going to be able to live a normal life. If you try to take this on, your life will just be on stop.
Right.
And finally, I just kind of snapped out of it. And the neurologist saying, so what do you want to do? And I go, well, I'm going to go home. I'm going to take my son home, and he's going to experience life just like anybody else. But driving home, I'm thinking, how am I going to explain this to his mom? Right. And, you learn a lot about people in hardship.
Sure.
So, you don't know if he signed up for something like this, I didn't even know, because this is the biggest hardship. Actually, it wasn't even a hardship to me. It's been a pretty much a big opportunity and a blessing, honestly.
Yeah.
And just driving home, it was just, foggy. Just driving. I don't even know if I saw any stoplights or signs or anything. I just showed up, and I'm in my driveway now, And so I explained it, and, 5 years of therapy, and then, therapy beyond, but not at the same level of intensity.
Yeah.
So, we did, all of these years of just including people like Michael in our culture. And it just has been the most rewarding, fulfilling thing I've ever expected in my life. I was not going in this direction.
No.
I had a different plan, right? I thought I was going to do all this nutritional stuff. I was speaking at fitness conferences for metrics. I was doing all these things, and I was on this trajectory of a lot of stuff. And then all of a sudden, Michael's born, and I'm going in a different direction, right? I'm very happy where I'm at.
I'm going to pull, so you were featured in a book, and I read some of the pages from it, that United Men of Honor. And one of the great lines that you have is this experience when you met with this doctor, and the doctor told you, institutionalize them, your life will never be the same. And then you have a great quote that Michael will live a life filled with abundance, and you'll be included in everything. And you said that immediately. Where does that come from? Like, you're right. You had tunnel vision. The room is spinning, and all of a sudden you just have this moment that you said, no, my kid's going to live a life full of abundance and do everything. Where does that come from?
Honestly, I don't know where it came from, but it just is. It was a natural reaction when the neurologist told me that. It was almost like God handing me a card and just saying, here's your challenge. This is, what you're going to do. We're handing out, this is the deck. We're handing out all these different cards, and this one's yours, because up until then, life was kind of just try something, do it, and you're fulfilled. This one was like,
it's a curveball.
This one's a big one.
Yeah.
And it's, right at the beginning of my life. My kids are 1 and 2, or really 1.
Right.
One in a couple 6 weeks. Yeah. Right. And I'm thinking, all right, so this is my path. I'm thinking, this is it. I thought I was going this way, but this is my defining moment. And I accept this challenge. And he is going to experience everything. I mean, Michael went skydiving with his best buddy on his 18th birthday. Both of their 18th birthdays, they both went skydiving. He's gone whitewater rafting. He's experienced all the things that most people just, I don't want any part of that.
Yeah.
It's too comfortable. He has no fear. And if he does have fear, he keeps it to himself. But I'm going to tell you something. His life has not been just fulfilling for me.
Mm-hmm.
It's been fulfilling for many that are around him.
Yeah.
I mean, your brother Ricky, when he gets around Michael, Ricky is different.
Yeah.
He just kind of lights up, and Michael has that impact on other people.
He's a special guy. Yeah.
And it's just, when you talk to him and his outlook on things, like he recently got an award from the Miami Dolphins at the halftime when we had the Super Bowl here a few years ago.
Yeah.
So they gave him an award. It's called Fins First. And it's for customer service because he works at the Dolphins, and he works in a division called guest experience. And it's all customer service, right? So when the Super Bowl, when your stadium wins the opportunity to host a Super Bowl game, they own it,
right?
They own your stadium. So the year before, like the last 4 Dolphin games, they're coming into your stadium and they're watching your people in action, but they're like secret shoppers. So they're undercover.
Very cool.
You don't know. Yeah. You're dealing with the NFL, right? So, they watched him interact with people. And so for the last 4 Dolphin games, they were just so impressed with him that they gave him this gold helmet that said 100 on it, which is for the 100th year of the NFL. And his supervisor didn't even know about it.
That's cool.
So at halftime at the Super Bowl, I'm watching this film crew, and people are walking around him with a microphone, and they're talking to him. I'm like, what's going on? Because I'm about 50 feet away from him. I'm there to help him for food and bathroom.
Right.
So when they all left, I walked up. I go, what was that all about? He goes, look what I got. And he described it to me. So, I mean, there's just
so many special moments.
There's so many moments that I could go on how he impacts others. And what he's done to me and those around me, our friends and family. And he causes everybody to go further. Just when you think I'm tapping out here, I'm comfortable here. Yeah. I'm 30, I'm going to just cruise control the rest of my life till retirement. No.
He pushes it.
He's like, what's next? What's next? What's next? What's next? And that's just what happens around him. So I'm blessed.
You say the word blessed. Your faith's important to you.
Mm-hmm.
Was it because of Michael, or was it something before? How has that evolved, your faith?
Well, I am a man of faith, and I think they're both combined. I think they're just combined because my outlook is, we're here for a reason. We obviously were created to be in the family of God, and what we do here matters. And, not only are we here for God, but we're here to serve others.
Sure.
And the thing that I've learned most is, and for people that have not experienced what it's like to serve, I mean, obviously I served in the military, I served as a police officer, and I'm serving now as a nonprofit executive.
Yeah.
Serving is just so fulfilling.
Yeah.
And if people have never experienced it, I challenge people, do something simple. A small nugget of service, and just get a taste of what it's like and the rewards you get for that little bit. And it's going to be addictive.
Yeah.
And you're going to find out that you're going to want to do more. And before you know it, you're doing a lot. Yeah. But you can't expect people to just dive in and do big things. You start off as a volunteer doing something simple.
Yeah.
And what's crazy is before Michael was born, I used to donate my time as a volunteer driving a van in Miami as a cop to Shriners Children's Hospital in Tampa.
Yes.
And I would take disabled kids there.
Yeah.
So before Michael was born.
Wow.
Never knew ever that hospital
Isn't that crazy?
would be a hospital that Michael would be using. Wow. So I would drive there, and then I created this 911 fitness challenge. Mm-hmm. Once I learned about Shriners Children's Hospitals, I because I'm already working for Metrics.
Yeah.
So and I already created this fitness certification program. I created this fitness challenge that went on for 19 years. I just retired it a few years ago. Went on for 19 years, all proceeds benefiting Shriners Children's Hospitals, right? Mm-hmm. They give free surgery, free therapy, free equipment for kids 18 below. that have spinal cord injuries, burns, or brain injuries. But here I am. I'm going there as a volunteer, driving, learning about the hospital. Wow, this is something, you know. Little did I know these seeds are being planted in me.
A message was being sent to you.
You think?
Yeah.
And then, you know, so the people that would do our fitness challenge, it was a weight loss competition, cops and firemen and military. You start in January, you finish in April, right? 12 weeks. I divided the country into 4 regions, and Canada was its own region. So if your team got the, you know, team of 3, 4, or 5 members on your team, whoever lost the most fat and gained the most muscle wins $5,000 for the team, a trip to Vegas, all expense paid at the MGM, and you get to watch a live UFC fight.
That's a good one.
So I had 6,000 competitors every year.
Wow.
Right? This was year round. Muscle Fitness would do an editorial. We'd always get local coverage, TV coverage. So this went on for so long, right?
Crazy.
All proceeds went to Shriners. So, you know, we'd go up every year, give them a check at the end of the day. And one day we're going down one of the halls at Shriners right here in Tampa. Yeah. It's at the UCF campus. And the PR person says, Jim, did you ever see, we have a thing for you on our wall. It's like a sponsorship like wall, right? And you see Shell Oil there. You see all these big sponsors. I never thought we'd be in there. She showed me. There's like this metal circle badge on the wall. It says 911 Fitness Challenge here. And I'm like, whoa, I would have never thought we'd be here, right?
Wow.
But anyway, there's just so many ways of rewards. And, you know, we would take the winners of these fitness challenges, whichever was closest, and we'd go on a chartered bus, all of them. Now, there's like 30 of them because there's like 5 on each team. There's 5 teams, right? And then we'd go to Schreyer Children's Hospital and we'd go and visit the kids, right? So the kids would see these cops and firemen as like superstars.
Yeah, right.
They don't really know they lost weight and gained muscle. Yeah. They just see them as superstars, like, you know, they're visiting me and there's some kind of competition and they're champions, you know, and they're here to visit me, you know? And so those guys, it got to them.
Yeah.
A lot of these guys were just like touched because they're in it to win it. They want the recognition.
They know where the money's going.
They see where their money is going. They see the kids. Now they got a face, not just a picture. They're talking to them and they know that their efforts went there. So did all of them turn out to be philanthropists? No. But were seeds planted?
Yeah. And went back into their communities and hopefully did great things. Let's talk about your competitive guy. It comes out in your language. Your accomplishments as far as you and Michael competing. How many races have you done? What's the magnitude? Like, walk me through where you've been, what you've done, and what have you guys done together?
Well, we've been racing together since he was 5.
Right.
And I never did a triathlon without him. So every time we've done triathlons, it's always been together.
So how many?
A lot. Ironmans, we've done 7. The regular triathlons, I really don't know. There's a lot of them.
Yeah.
You know, there's sprints and Olympics. You know, those are smaller ones. And then just charity bike rides. You know, Best Buddies.
Of course.
They have all of those. You know, they have one in California, Boston, DC. Yeah. We've done all of them. Right. And they were all hundreds, right? In fact, we did California twice. You know, it's funny, the one in California, we the first time we did it, all of his brothers did it. So the 4 of us were there, right? So we flew over there and we're doing it. And so we finished like, we're last.
Yeah. Right.
We're the slowest. Yeah. So we come pulling in and everyone's eating. It's a big to-do.
Yeah. Sure.
Big tables, like, 15 people at the tables, big spread.
Yeah.
So the stage is here. The last tables are here, right? So we come in, we're at the last tables, right? So we finally get a table. We're sitting there. We're starving. You know, it's a long day. Yeah. And we're getting ready to eat. And, it's Anthony Shriver and Maria. Yeah. So Maria's on stage with Anthony and she says, where is that? I mean, the timing was just, I don't know if she saw us or it just was coincidence, but she goes, where is that group that's pulling someone behind the bicycle? Are they here? And then everybody around us is pointing at us. You know,
Yeah.
So she goes, come on up here. And we're just looking at all this food and drink. Then we're like, what a tease, right? We're ready to eat. Now we got to go up there. So we go up there. We have to, navigate ourselves up there. We carry Michael, put him on stage. And Maria's like, where are you from? Why are you all the way here in California? and we explain our story. And she goes, I have a bone to pick with you. And I'm like, okay, what happened? And she says, Michael, when he's in the chair, he was kind of like leaning to one side the whole way.
Uh-huh.
That's part of his thing.
Yeah.
So he got sunburned big time on the right side of him. On the left side of him, it's completely white, right? So she says, I got a bone to pick with you. There's a thing called sunblock. How come you didn't put any sunblock on? All right. So she gave me a hard time. After that, these three boys, Michael, Adam, and my other son, Joey, who I adopted, the three boys, they were superstars that night.
That's awesome.
They met so many people and made friends. They drank, they ate, and it was just wonderful. So, we do bike rides like that. And we do the dolphin cancer ride. We do that every year. We've done it every year except the first year. This last year, we had 15 people that we were pulling in chairs in that race. And we don't do hundreds anymore because the Dolphins asked us to, because we come in so late.
Yeah.
They want us to experience a concert.
Yeah.
So they said, instead of doing the 100-miler, just do the 50. So we do the 50. And this year, we got to go on the F1 track.
That's
as the finish line. We got a cool video of us coming in with our riders with us. So we, some of the things we do are all races. Some of them are just charity events.
Yeah. Father and son, you and Michael. But there's a deeper connection. You guys are friends, right? Like, there's not every father and son are friends, right? You love your father, you love your son, but they don't you guys get along, like you're buddies.
Yeah.
Like, that's the vibe I've gotten from you of hanging around you two. It's like, it's not just, I'm with my son hanging out. Like, we have a special bond. We're friends. We enjoy spending time with each other.
It's interesting you say that, because I don't talk to many people that notice that, but there is a connection, and it just evolved. It just kind of happened. And, we talk about plans. We talk about, he jokes with me all the time. He's got a girlfriend. We have to go travel to South Dakota to go see her. He has an identity. He has a personality. He also works for the Florida Panthers. So
okay,
it's playoffs now.
I was about to say, yeah, 3 times yesterday. Yeah, big fight too.
Yeah, and then but he enjoys connecting with people. If he's not working, people are like, "Where is he?
Where is he?"
That they know. He has his own personality. He's a really special kid.
You're a special guy. You started Special Compass. Talk to me about the organization, what it does. You laid out some of it, but when did you start it, and talk to me about the growth and currently what you're doing.
Well, we, as I mentioned earlier, in 2007, I retired. Mm-hmm. I had a couple gyms. I had a CrossFit gym. Yeah. I had an Orange Theory fitness gym. And then I had those for a while, and I'm still trying to operate Special Compass.
Yeah.
But it's not founded yet. It's still that casual weekend thing. Let's get together, guys. Let's do this. But it wasn't founded yet. So I said, I really need to devote my time to this. I'm finding that the percent of my time is so small.
Yeah.
And
I was going to say, when do you sleep?
Yeah. I'm thinking, that wasn't my goal. My goal was to have Special Compass in my last couple chapters of life to do that.
Yeah.
Right. And it just wasn't happening. So I made a decision. I said, I'm going to sell the gyms, and I'm going to do 100% full-time. And luckily I did it right before COVID.
Wow.
Right? So I sold them both right before COVID, and it worked out good. And 2015, 501c3 nonprofit, board of directors, whole 9 yards. And since then, the company has grown.
Yeah.
It's grown, and we are a 100% charity, volunteer nonprofit. Nobody in the whole organization gets a salary, including me.
Wow.
I don't get a salary. Michael doesn't get a salary. Nobody does. So everybody who works for us, our board of directors, all free. So the compassion and the sweat equity is valid.
Where do you think that comes from? I mean, so all these people are volunteers. Are they people who have somebody with a disability, or they love athletics, but somebody's been injured? Like, where does it come from?
Well, on our board of directors, there are 2 parents that have kids with disabilities, but the rest of them don't. The rest of them just are drawn to our mission.
It comes from you and Michael.
Well, it's funny because one of the guys, he's an attorney who came to visit one of our board meetings just to see if, he was just invited to see if he would like it.
Yeah.
Because he knew about us, he's seen us in action, and wanted to learn more. So, the board meeting started, right? And we have a guest, and I say, who he is. And it was the most disorganized board meeting I ever had, right? And I'm thinking, what a bad first impression, right? I go, we've never had him that bad, but that was a bad one. All my accounting was all mixed up. It was just terrible. And I even told him later, I said, it's not normally like this. I hope we didn't leave a bad taste in your mouth. No, he left, sent a donation the week after, a sizable donation.
Wow.
Right after that. And I'm thinking, I even called him. I said, was this a mistake or is this really you? And he goes, yeah. He says, if I'd like to be a part of it. And he's been a part since.
Wow.
And he's very instrumental in getting things done for us. And it's just interesting, the people that are attracted to our organization. Yeah. And it's so diverse. Our organization, our board is super diverse. And we also have ambassadors who don't have the responsibilities of board members, but are super active and, also diverse and bring with them, time, talent, treasures. That are just, that are priceless.
Coming from a good place. So you're also doing a development. Walk me through, I just heard, I don't know a lot about it. Walk me through what you're doing.
So our 3 pillars of Special Compass is sports, education, and housing.
Okay.
So the education part comes from, we give scholarships to people who are in transition from high school into either college, vocation, or technical school, or whatever they want to do. And so we give them scholarship money so that they can further their education, whatever it is. The housing part, and it's been a long dream to build a housing project for those with disabilities. A different kind of housing, wider hallways.
Yeah, they need a total different setup.
Yeah. Smart technology, electrical outlets higher, countertops lower, everything so that they can function without having to go in every day their life as an obstacle course, So it's a barrier-free environment. So we finally, a few years ago, we got land donated by the city of Pembroke Pines and built this committee, a building committee of the best and brightest. We have, so our program is an affordable housing complex, 60 units. It's going to be 4 floors. We're going to provide free services and programs for them. And it's going to be for people who want to live an independent life. We're going to have social workers we'll have 2 social workers that'll sleep there overnight so that there's always somebody there. It's in a nice community. It's right off of University Drive and Pines Boulevard.
Yeah, it's a nice area.
Yeah. So there's nothing there yet. We just applied for it through Florida Housing. It's $30 million. Yeah. There were 6 developers that had applied. They only award 1.
Okay.
We came in 3rd place.
Wow.
So we got to try again next January. And the good thing about it is we get to see where we were weak in our narratives so that we can improve next time. And the thing is for the first time, the one that got 1st place is already a huge developer, and we were kind of wondering, what are they doing here? This is for the little guys, these grants. But anyway, he won it hands down because they got 30 developments all over the state.
Yeah, they know what they're doing.
They know what they're doing, and I'm the little guy. But we were happy with 3rd place, and for the first time, Florida Housing gave 2 awards. So it was intended to only give 1 award, and because they saw that there were 6, they said we'll give a 2nd. I wish we would have got 2nd. But anyway, we're coming back. But we have a great developer who's our partner, Green Mills Group. They've done 13 projects throughout the state, and they're well-known, great reputation. We love each other. They love us. We got this joint venture that we put together, and we're grateful to have them.
So living alone, as an example, you're here today. Who takes care of Michael right now?
Well, right now, there's an aide with him.
There's an aide, okay.
There's an aide with him. She's going to be with him from 8 to 2.
Okay.
And then from 2 to 8, I have another one coming.
Got it.
So, but that's only on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And then my mom, grandma of 84 years old,
bless her soul.
She comes to the house all the time. But she says, I'm not going to come over there when you have these aides there because she goes, well, I know Michael likes to be with them and, they do stuff, right? But a lot of times they're not there. So, there's a lot of turnover with this. Yeah. It's kind of a problem.
Right.
It's kind of a problem. The ones that we have right now, actually this system right now that's going on has only been going on for 2 months now. 2 months. Before that, it's usually me.
It's usually, right.
It's usually me. And but right now I'm looking to get him a place before this one even gets built. Century Village is right across from my house.
Yeah.
So I'm going to get him a 2-bedroom condo. So he's only 7 minutes from me.
Great.
So if he needs me.
So he wants to live his own.
He wants to be on his own. He likes living independently.
Wow.
He tells me when he has to work, when, he manages his money.
It's amazing. You raised a great kid.
He really likes, and he's an advocate. He got appointed by the governor. So now he's on the DD Council appointed by Governor DeSantis.
Really?
In fact, next week we have to go up there for a meeting.
Amazing.
He's doing great stuff. So he loves advocating for himself. Mm-hmm. He loves advocating for others, because not everybody with disabilities understands the rights that they have and entitlements that they have.
Yeah.
In fact, I'm constantly talking to parents about their financial entitlements that they don't realize they have.
Yeah, so that's what I was thinking, is like, how you're an advocate, you're a smart guy, you're an accomplished guy, but like other people who just don't know how to navigate the system, like what do they do? I have no, not everybody can afford, somebody there to help them, many hours a day. Like what do they do?
Well, it is
a problem.
Well, the word you use, navigate.
Right.
That's tough for most people, because if you actually go on some of these government agency websites, mm-hmm. they're confusing.
Yeah, sure.
They're confusing. But you know what? The benefits are there. Okay. So I'm preparing now for a TED Talk mm-hmm. on I titled it Differently Abled, Benefiting from Benefits. Right?
It's a great talk.
So I'm freely mm-hmm. sharing information that's available. And I'm using the TED platform so that it can reach more people. Yeah. So that people will, because the government's not going to put billboards there telling you what your entitlements are.
No, of course not.
They leave it up to you to go find it.
Yeah.
We have it for you. You go find it. But a lot of times, this parent will talk to that parent will talk to that parent, and then you can only make $2,000 a month. If not, Social Security will take away your benefits. Not true. You can earn up to $54,000 as a disabled person, own your own home, own your own car, and not lose your Social Security benefits. Can't have 2 houses, can't have 2 cars.
Yeah, right.
But you may be getting 0 from Social Security, but if you're earning 54, what do you need Social Security money from?
Yeah.
But you still want the benefits, though.
Of course.
So you keep those benefits, and you can. And most parents and most people in this circle believe that whole $2,000 rule, and it's causing 23 million people with disabilities in the United States to live in poverty.
Oh, that's heartbreaking.
How can you live on $2,000?
Yeah, man, you can't.
You can't. But they're like, I can't earn any more. And they don't even know about all the different IRS-approved financial institutions where you can put money, and let it grow. And not lose your benefits. It's safe. So once you monitor your checking account, it gets to $1,800, $1,900, transfer money into your IRS-approved financial institution. Do that every month. Let it grow. Growth funds, mutual funds. Yeah. It's got all that in there. That can grow until you're 50, 60. And you won't lose your benefits. But they don't know that. They live in fear, ultimately living in poverty.
That's terrible.
It's terrible.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm on this mission to share
so the education, the 3 things,
it's key.
Right? Housing, athletics, and education is totally key. My friend, thank you for coming on the show. You're a special guy. You've made a huge impact. You're an inspiration, you and Michael. Please come back. We'd love to have you again. Where can people find out about Special Compass and all the great things that you're doing?
Thank you. Our website is specialcompass.org.
Okay.
Great.
Let's go grab lunch.
Sounds great.
Thanks for coming on the show.